Welcome everybody to, is it time? I can't, let me get my,
Yep,
yes, it's time.
it's
All right.
time.
Welcome everybody to the IAM broadcast for Monday, February 1st, 2021. Thank you all for being here. My name is Mike Bullis. I am the Executive Director of the Image Center of Maryland, the Center for Independent Living that serves Baltimore City, Baltimore County, and Harford County. I am really pleased to bring you this program of importance to people with disabilities and service providers. This program is being recorded. I have to tell you that legally, but I also tell you that because if you say or do something that's embarrassing, or if we hear your toilet flush, we reserve the right to put that out on YouTube or on your Facebook page or anywhere we want. So please mute yourself while we're on here so that you don't do or say something embarrassing that we can hold against you. It will be usually we get these onto YouTube in 2 or 3 days, so you're welcome to you'll be able to hear this broadcast again. If you have questions during the presentations today, you can use the chat box for questions, or you can raise your hand, or you can just unmute yourself if there's a quiet spot and ask your question. There will be community announcements at the end of this program. So if you or your organization want to make some announcements about what be going on, please feel free to do that, and we'll be glad to get it out there. Anyway, thank you all so much for being here. As part of the opportunities we have to influence activities at the Maryland Legislative Assembly, we have invited groups and interested people who might have legislation pending in the Maryland General Assembly to talk about that. The person we have on our list for today is Michael Dalto. Michael, talk to us about what's going on with employment and medical debt and the General Assembly.
Thank you, Mike. So I'm volunteering with a coalition called the End Medical Debt Maryland campaign. It's a group of mostly labor, nonprofit, and faith-based organizations that are working to help ease the burden of medical debt, and specifically aggressive collection practices. I'll be generous and say that some would be more would be blunter and say that they're predatory practices. Starting with a couple bills, one in the House and one in the Maryland Senate, that would restrict predatory debt collection practices by hospitals in particular. Hospitals in Maryland and probably throughout the country are pretty notorious for suing patients for past due bills. And 15% of Marylanders report having medical debt. That includes 21% in communities of color. And the percentages of Marylanders with disabilities who have medical debt is likely much higher. I used to work in a low interest loan program for people with disabilities in Maryland to buy assistive technology they needed, and read a lot of credit reports and saw a whole ton of judgments for medical debt. Judgment means that somebody has been sued. And so I don't have figures on the percentage of people with disabilities who report medical debt, but I assume it's much higher than for the general population in the state. So there are some problems with this. One is that in Maryland's system, hospitals get money to pay for uncompensated care to people with low incomes. And we've found that oftentimes they may sue people or charge people with medical debt, even though they should have been able to get money through what's referred to as charity care to reimburse those expenses. And also, any of you who've ever dealt with hospital bills and medical insurance know that it can be a big mess. You get bills from all over the place, and oftentimes just failure of coordination among insurance providers results in medical debt that should have been covered by insurance, and people end up getting sued for that oftentimes. So the bills would do four main things. First, prohibit hospitals from putting liens on patients' homes or cars. Imagine losing your home or your car over medical debt to a hospital. Prohibiting wage or bank garnishment to collect medical debt from uninsured patients. To require hospitals to offer reasonable monthly repayment plans, and prohibiting hospitals from suing patients to collect debts of $1,000 or less. The average amount of medical debt that hospitals sue patients for in Maryland is $944.
Good grief.
So the bills are House Bill 565 and Senate Bill 514. And I'd like to invite any of you, particularly if you're affiliated with an organization, to sign on to support the legislation. And I'll send a link to a document where you can sign on. Also, if you or someone you know has been sued by a hospital or has been the victim of medical debt in some other fashion, and if you or your friend might be interested in testifying on behalf of these bills, remotely, of course, I would love to hear from you. So I will put information in the chat before the end of the presentation Josh does.
Excellent. Yeah, that's it's such a complex and difficult thing, and it happens at the time when people are most vulnerable, usually after some kind of a major accident or traumatic experience in their life, and they're trying to keep track. I mean, I remember just something as simple as my daughter being born, that over a year later, I was still getting little bills. I thought they might be like golfing fees or something, because they would be like for, $27, and they'd say, if you don't pay this right away, we're gonna garnish your wages or whatever. And it was just, they just kept coming, and I could never tell whether I still owed them or not. I occasionally thought about not paying them, but it's just a very intimidating and frustrating process. And when at least mine was for a joyful occasion, but when you look at it from someone who's in a traumatic part of their life, there's just no excuse for the way people get treated. Like you, I used to review loan applications from people who, for no other reason than that they had medical debt related to their disability, were unable to borrow money. So thank you very much for working on this. Is Josh Bassel here? I haven't heard him come on yet. So if not, I want to take just a second and have, pardon me?
Josh is here.
Josh is here.
Excellent. Give me 1 second. I'll let you finish what you're saying.
Yeah, take your time. Take your time, Josh. Thanks very much for being here today. I actually was just going to have Sarah talk about next week's show while we're all thinking about it. Sarah, do you want to talk about the myths about the coronavirus vaccination?
Yep. So next week is going to be an opportunity for people to have some just open dialogue about their concerns about the coronavirus vaccine. And we're going to feature Duke Morrow, who is someone who has worked on a lot of reviews with studies for vaccines in the past and is a person with a disability. And so he's going to come to us from Michigan. He may be on today, but I haven't seen him yet. But we're going to put out some myths that we've been hearing. Serena's been taking them down as she's been supporting some of our consumers during this time, and then sort of explain why they're not true, and then just have an opportunity for people to express other concerns about the vaccine that they may want to talk about a little bit. So that's excellent. The session.
Well, excellent. Thank you very much. And now, Josh, are you ready?
I am ready.
All right, let me introduce you for momentarily. Josh Bassel is here today, and he is a strong advocate for disability issues in Maryland. He's a lawyer and an all-around good guy. someone that takes his time to really get involved in the community. I know he recently became a member of the Statewide Independent Living Council. Congratulations on that, Josh, and thank you so much for your willingness to serve. But Josh has a project that he wants to talk about today that has to do with accessing gas stations. So I want to talk about this because it's very exciting. That's coming online, and you'll want to be a part of it if you are a person who needs assistance with filling up your tank. Josh Bassel, welcome.
Thank you, Mike. It's great to be here today. I'm excited to be talking across the board to all the independent living centers, and I'm honored to be appointed by Governor Hogan to represent, have representation on the council, have my voice be heard. But basically today I want to be able to share with all of you about what's going on in a new service that, in my eyes, is going to change how drivers with disabilities access the pumps for years to come. It's really exciting because it's starting right here in Maryland and the surrounding areas. I want to share a little bit about myself for any of you guys that don't know me and what I'm all about and how I became part of the disability community and what I've done since joining our special community. So with that being said, I'll jump right into it. So my injury took place in 2004. I was on a family vacation at the age of 18. I was in waist-high water, and a wave just picked me up, threw me over my boogie board, and slammed me on my head. And that day I shattered my fifth cervical vertebra in my neck. I was paralyzed below the shoulders. I was on a ventilator for the first 4 weeks. I was unable to speak to my friends, my family, because of the ventilators, and I was silenced. I decided when I regained my voice that I would never be silent again, and that I would make every word, everything that I did from that point on, have meaning and do good and change the world in any way I could. So, right then and there, I started finding my voice as I started using my voice. And I've been a bit of a busy person since then, with the ability to know that I could do good. So a little bit more about me. I'm a C45 quad. I'm the founder of Determined to Heal. It's a 501c3 nonprofit here in Maryland that helps simplify the transition into life with paralysis for the newly injured. Spinalpedia is one of our main mentoring tools. Spinalpedia has over 17,000 videos broken down by physical functionality. So you put your exact movement in, and you have a mentor to show you what's possible within your unique world if you're paralyzed or if you have a significant disability. After my injury, I joined DOORS and went to Department of Rehabilitative Services and started my schooling back up. I went to community college, then University of Maryland, graduated there, and then graduated magna cum laude from law school. And now I'm a practicing trial attorney, fighting for persons that have been catastrophically injured and due to medical malpractice. I love doing what I do. I'm a board member of the United Spinal Association. I'm an adventure seeker who bring families across the state of Maryland on adventures to get out of their homes. Did a lot more of that in 2019 than 2020, but can't wait for COVID and all the vaccines to be here and available for all of us. I'm a disability job mentor, so if anybody ever needs or wants to pursue employment and has questions, I want you to know that you're not alone. I'm here as a resource for all abilities. I do not discriminate. So if you have a spinal cord injury, if you have intellectual disability, if you have any disability, I'm here as a resource. And most recently, for the last 2 years, I've been working on this FuelService project, and it's finally here, and I'm so excited to tell you about it. So for me personally, after my injury, I had a reset button. I went from a quadriplegic, I went from an able-bodied athlete. I was 185 pounds, and then within 5 weeks, I went to a 135-pound quadriplegic and had to relearn everything. With that being said, I quickly learned that before my injury, I did things 1 million ways. And now I get to do it 1 million new ways, 1 million different ways. And with that being said, I got to learn how to relearn how to drive. So obviously before my injury, I used my hands, my feet, and now after my injury, I started being able to use adaptive technologies to allow me to drive. But I always hit the biggest roadblock when it came to I could get to my destination, but how do I fill up my gas tank? It's I don't have the use of my fingers, and it just always terrified me. It's like I want to be as independent as possible, but this is not going to be easy. And I started recognizing that there's some major problems. And for me as a quadriplegic, you'd get to the gas station, you'd call them, and you'd hope that somebody would pick up. If nobody picked up, you'd start honking your horn over and over and over again, which was so embarrassing, especially for the fact that everybody's looking at you like, what's wrong with you? What's going on? Nobody else has to honk and then the horn that many times. Also, I'd have to then roll down my window and ask random bystanders, I'm a quadriplegic and I can't fill up. Could you help me? Here's money. It's just a whole process of, it wasn't something that was enjoyable, and it wasn't something that I could rely on with confidence. And when those three options failed, I then would have to go to the next station and the next station and hope I didn't run out of gas on the side of the road. And another big issue is getting out of the vehicle, putting your ramp down. So many cars just run over the ramp as you're going out, or if you close up the ramp, by the time you're ready to get back in the car, somebody else is already parked there and you have to wait till they move their car. So there's just a lot of issues as a quadriplegic. And this is just one perspective within the disability community of the struggles at the pump. For me, I've always, since my injury with finding my voice, I've always loved the advocacy game. This is what I talk about: making change, doing good in the world. And when you see a problem, figuring out a solution. So for me, it's always about being proactive rather than reactive. When something bothers me, I don't let it just continue to bother me. I do something about it. And it's with the advocacy game, I think of it as a sport. The more you do it, the more you practice it, the better you get. And to tell you the truth, over the years, I've practiced a lot and I've gotten really good at it. I'm proud to say that I got really good at it because I take it seriously. So my advocacy game has 4 prongs. One is first recognizing the problem or problems. Second is strategizing a solution. Third is creating a call to action. And then fourth is power in numbers. And I'm going to dive into each of these. I already hit the problem one, but let's check out the next one. All right, so strategizing a solution. Right here, this is Niall. He's the founder of FuelService. He's a paraplegic from the United Kingdom. And he recognized a problem that he had when he went to go fill up his gas tank. But luckily with his background before his injury, he was an IT specialist. He could code, he could do all these things that he knew how to get a product out and to make it work within the telecom networks and the infrastructure that exists surrounding gas stations. He developed FuelService. And this is an incredible solution that provides communication between users and gas stations and brings assistance straight to your car, so you never have to get out of your vehicle. So I'll break down how FuelService works. So first, you open the app, you enter in you pick your current location, which is the default. You hit find, and then it tells you all the local stations that are around you that are available. It's up to you to choose which station you want because you know what direction you want to go in based on where you're at. I always advise anybody that uses the app, don't do it while you're driving. You don't want to be on your phone while you're driving, and so then the next thing, once you find the station you want, you hit call for assistance. You hit the button, a robocall is generated to the station saying a driver with a disability based on GPS is 15 minutes from your station. Press 1 if you can help service them, press 2 if you cannot. If they say 2 cannot, it comes directly back to you giving you feedback that they cannot help, so you can choose another station. If they say 1, they can help, you get a message back on your phone that says, yes, proceed to that station. And then once you get there, you arrive, you go to the pump that you want, and you hit I've arrived. At that point, you're able to put the pump number that you're at. I'm at pump 3. It says it right on the station that you're at. And it sends another robocall to the gas attendant saying that you've arrived. Please let me know how long it will take for you to help that person, to help the driver. And the reason why we want this feedback as well, because sometimes at that moment they might have 2 or 3 people in the line, so they can hit, 4 minutes. I can come out there in 4 minutes once I take care of these customers. And that just gives the assistant the ability to prepare for you and to give you some feedback on where they're at within their service. And then you have the ability to rate your experience. Say if you liked it, if you didn't like it, but also at the same time, you're able to pay with your phone as well. So you don't have to pay with cash. You don't have to pay with a credit card that you hand the driver, the attendant that comes out to help you. You literally can do everything paperless, which is fantastic. And this is the process of FuelService. So right now, we went live 2 weeks ago. We put it on 135 stations across the state of Maryland and Northern Virginia and DC. This is kind of our first rollout. So this is like I just showed you the map of the Baltimore area. This is the map of Montgomery County, Washington, DC, Northern Virginia. So we have stations live right now. And it's thanks to FuelService, Shell, Motiva, Petroleum Marketing Group, and my nonprofit, which is Determined to Heal. This is just the beginning. But in order to make us so that we can keep this going, we need to get this, we need to get users to use it. So my call to action today for all of you, I'd love for you to do it right now or right when this presentation ends. Go to your app store, whether it's within iTunes or with Google Play, download FuelService. And one of the big things is I want you to use the app. You don't have to run out of gas to use the app. You don't have to be less than 1/4 of a tank. The next time you're in your vehicle, I would love for you to be able to press, use it, fill up a few gallons, test it out, see what you like about it, provide feedback, but get it on your phone and know that this is a service that's only going to get better as we get more and more stations out there. Right now there's 135. We have the ability across the country to get 100,000 gas stations on board, but we have to start somewhere, and this is where we're starting now. So let's use it. It's one of those things, if you don't use it, the gas stations don't think we need help anymore. So if you use it, then it's going to be something that they say, this is really making our life easier, because we don't want to get call after call after call and have to say somebody, we can't help you. I'm sorry, we know you're at the station. The traditional model is somebody actually has to be at the station when they call them. This one, they don't. They can be 15, 20 minutes away and let them know if they can help or not. And they don't like being honked at either. Like, it's embarrassing for us, but at the same time, they have no idea if it's an emergency for somebody or what's going on, because there's that lack of communication. From a testimonial standpoint, in November 2019, we did a beta test outside of a spinal cord injury therapy program. And we just had people from that therapy program go test out 3 different local stations that were a mile away. And the feedback was incredible. People loved it, people used it. It just helped them. It just, to not have to break down your manual wheelchair as you're getting out of the car, not having to, other people loved it because they're like, I can maybe use this to get food. So somebody comes out saying, I need a Coke, I need some ice cream, here's the money, or they bring it out, you pay. It's like, it's just an incredible kind of concierge service for the disability community that never existed before. All right, when it comes to power and numbers, when I wheel down the street, I work in Washington, DC. Prior to COVID, I haven't been in the streets of DC in a while, but prior to COVID, I would wheel down the street. I would turn a few heads, right? People would look my way, that's this guy's in a wheelchair. But if I wheel down the street with 5 people in wheelchairs, 10 people, 20 people, 100 people with disabilities, whether there's canes, wheelchairs, you name it, everybody's going to turn their head. That's what we have to do with this type of app. We got to turn people's heads. We have to advocate for changes for drivers with disabilities to make our lives easier now and in the future. We have an opportunity to change the way drivers with disabilities access the road the pumps, and really to change the way we are accepted on the roads. So it's a very important moment right now. So let's use this app. Let's share the app. Let's recommend it to friends, and then let's get friends to also use the app. It's just so important. The more we use it, the more it will be accepted, and it will end up becoming the norm rather than the exception. So right now, I'm going to open the floor to any questions, and this is my name, Josh Basil, and josh.basil@gmail.com. You can message me anytime with questions, feedback. You can find me on Facebook at Josh Basil, and I would love to just being able to get to know more and more people in our community.
Okay, let's get a couple basics down. What is the name of the app?
FuelService,
Just FuelService. One word, two words?
one word.
Okay. And if my local service station doesn't have access to this app, who could I get them in touch with, or what could I tell them to get them on board?
Great question. So if it's a Shell station, FuelService made a global deal with Shell where every single one of their stations can now become subscribers. So if you have a local Shell station that you want to get on board, all you have to do is contact them, ask them if they want to be a part of it. If they're not part of the 135 that we already have up, and then so basically a FuelService, you can contact me and I will get that station on board. So if you want to share with me their station number or anything of that sort, as long as they agree that they want to get on board during this initial rollout stage, we can get it signed up for you. And if it's not a Shell station, you can ask them to be a part of it. And they're on the FuelService website, not the app, but the actual website. It allows for stations to contact Niall, and he will make it work with them to get them on board as a station provider. So it doesn't have to be Shell.
Oh, excellent. Okay, let's hear from some of you out there who have questions or comments, observations, horror stories that you want to tell, because I know there are a bunch of those out there. Anything?
Josh, it's Sarah. Just wanted to ask a question. How's it going? There's a couple of us that want to post this on our Facebook, to spread the word. And the place I've seen it is on your personal Facebook page, but is there another from a organization? I just looked on Spinalpedia and didn't see it. Is it best to just share the post that you had put on your Facebook page a few days ago? Should we share that on our organizational pages? Or?
Very, very good point. This is very important. So when we do share it, I've been reluctant to get it out nationally because we're only local right now. And I don't want to frustrate people that are in Pennsylvania, California, Texas, because they don't have access to this. So it's in a very delicate stage where I can give you graphics to share, but we need to have on there that it's a Maryland, DC, Northern Virginia app for now.
Okay, so we can add that. Is it
Sure.
okay if we just add that to your post, or would you prefer to write something separate?
I can create a graphic, but
Okay.
yeah, I can create a graphic so that it's something that we can all move forward with confidence with and make sure. Yeah, the last thing I want to do is frustrate people.
Understood.
How many gas stations are there in Maryland, DC, Virginia? There must be a few thousand, right?
Yes, there's a lot.
Sometimes I think there's one on every corner, and sometimes two.
Very true.
I just actually downloaded the app, and of course I work with Independence Now, and we serve Montgomery County and Prince George's County, and there are multiple locations that come up on mine. I don't know if anybody you can't see that. Multiple shells across the DMV area. I can't say it for as far out as where other shells are located, but there are multiple, one and 1.5 miles up the street from where I am. So right here in Silver Spring, Bladensburg, DC, Kensington College Park. Yes, several across the DMV area, multiple locations.
Thank you for looking that up. It's the having that conversation, continuing to use it yourself, but share this with other drivers with disabilities. It's gonna get used. So thank you for looking that up right now.
Could you give us a number or again to contact you for the Shell station to contact you?
Josh.Basil, that's B as in boy, A,
I don't hear well. I'm sorry. Josh dot.
Basil, so it's B as in boy, A, S as in Sam, ILE
Yes.
at gmail.com.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I had a question, Josh. You did mention that, you know, if they don't answer, they're going to contact us back saying that they can't help us. Is there a process that if there's particular ones that keep saying they can't help us, is it documented on if they are, you know, using the app and coming in and helping assist us? And then if they're not, you know, how would you deal with that?
So the way that I've heard a lot of people deal with that, and especially even overseas where this is in Europe right now, is basically you kind of get a feeler of what stations respond the best to you. So let's say you're local, you'll have that option. You'll know the 6 or 7 stations that are on board, and maybe 3 of them are more receptive than others. So you remember to always go to those first 3 that are the ones that you've worked with well in the past. Otherwise, I think it's one of those things that getting feedback like that from you, if there's like a rating system that we can get Niall, the creator, to give it maybe a success rate or something of the sort, or maybe these are the best hours that they're always able to help, but outside these hours they can't. I think more information the better. So we're always well open to learn and figure out more ways to make this more user friendly. But the trouble is, even if you have, you know, a station that helps, you know, 90% of the time, but if you contact them during the 10%, it's frustrating that they're not able to help you. And I don't want to discourage people from that. It's just, this app is what it is, and it's providing that communication before preventing you from having to drive there each time and learn the hard way. So I guess it's a little perspective in there as well.
So is there a rating system that we can, you know, say that those things?
There is a rating system. There's a feedback system. I don't know if the feedback is prior to the call. I know it's after the call. I don't know if there's any way to provide feedback if a service wasn't brought to the end, if that makes sense.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mike, there's some questions in the chat, and Cheryl Grossman has had her hand up.
All right, well, let's go with Cheryl, and then we'll take a look at some questions.
This is Cheryl. Thanks. Josh, I just wanted to say thank you so much for this. I'm a person who's 4'3", and I pull up to put gas in my car. I'm not even strong enough to lift the nozzle out myself. So the phone for getting assistance is over my head. So I have to get out of my car and go in every time. And what they do is they make me wait till there are no other customers. And then they lock the door, come out and help me. And half the time they're the only people there. So they say they can't do it. So just as a rule, I never let my tank get lower than a half a tank because I'm scared I'm gonna be, lost somewhere and not able to get help. So this is great. I'm loving it.
Thank you for sharing those experiences with me, and I'm very hopeful and optimistic that this service will do good for all disabilities. Really, like it's not just for wheelchair users, and it's there's so many other ways that this can be used. If you have a family member or friend that has a surgery, that's a broken bone and has difficulty walking, or somebody uses a cane, or let's say you're pregnant, or let's say you have a child with a disability, and if you have to get out of your car and there's a moment where if you're in the car, your child's safer and doesn't have any events or anything bad that can happen. There's so many different types of disabilities that this can help, or so many different types of drivers that this can help, because it's a service, it's an assistance service to help those in need. And even if you're a senior citizen, I don't believe that this should be used in a way that it's discriminating against anybody. if you have difficulty at the pump, this is a service to help those customers and to provide value to saying that we as a gas station want you as a customer.
Somebody says, does this apply? I'm not sure. Maybe the person can tell us specifically what they mean. Does this apply for other services? Do you mean like getting food or getting oil changed? Or I'm not sure what your question is.
Well, the interesting part about that is we're still in the infancy to learn how this can be used. But I had a friend that's part of the blind community that was like, all right, I'm in an Uber, and can I go to a gas station? And because I can't ask the Uber driver to go out and get something inside, but maybe I can use this service to bring food out to me. I think there's many creative ways that it can be used. It's just a matter of using it and getting the feedback and seeing how it really works to help the disability community and creating those new norms of how it's used. If FuelService becomes adopted across the country and it's a service that is recognized, we can start, improving and exactly to what our desires and our functionalities are. I'm excited for what's to come and the opportunities that are coming.
Okay, this is Debbie. The question, what I was asking was, like, well, can they help you with like cleaning your windshield, or if they need to check your oil, will they do something like that as well?
I'm not sure about that. I think there's service stations that you can call for that. That's for all abilities regardless, but this service is 100% free for drivers with disabilities. I think what you're saying is more of a service option. So I don't think it could include that unless the tenant is willing to do that for free, but I don't think that's a part of kind of that a reasonable accommodation package.
Okay, thank you.
So
Okay, go ahead.
I would
There's
love
a
to
couple
hear.
more questions, Mike.
Yeah,
Do you want me to,
Okay, well, if you can see more, I've asked all the ones I thought I could see here, so go
Okay.
ahead.
is it okay, Josh?
Absolutely.
Okay, so Francie is wondering how you found someone to develop the app. It's very well thought out.
Yeah, well, part of that advocacy game is I put myself out there a lot, and through my networks, I was able to connect with Niall and seeing that he was trying to change the world over in Europe. And I've had too many friends here in the United States that are struggling at the pump that I said, I can help bring this to the United States. And do you want to work together? Do you want to partner together? And that's how it started. I was just being proactive and knew that this is an area that could help a lot of people. So, but Niall is the genius that developed it, and I'm just a voice or a mechanism to get it out to the U.S.
So does Niall do that for work? Like, would you want to connect if somebody was interested in creating another app? This is
his full-time commitment, is just FuelService. He has no other businesses, side hustles. FuelService is his baby, and he wants to see it everywhere around the world.
Okay, then the next one, Mike, I mean, I think you basically answered this, Josh, but just to be sure we're clear, do you have to have a specific disability to use this app? My sister had a stroke and aphasia. She has communication and mobility issues. Could she use this?
Yes, it's for all abilities. And it's anybody that is servicing a person that's using the app, they should not ask, what disability do you have? It's using the app is your portal into being able to access this free service. Obviously, you have to pay for the gas, but you don't have to pay for them coming out to help you. Yeah, so that, I think that answers that question.
Probably the only state you won't be able to get many gas stations to sign up on is Oregon, or is Maine still a self-service only state?
I know New Jersey is.
Is it what? New Jersey?
New Jersey.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, it was a great experience in Oregon because you never had to worry about trying to get some full service. Every station had to have it.
I wish that was the norm.
Yeah, and it was a real battle. I will tell you that every year at the legislature, there was always somebody trying to break that one down, and it did. While I was there, it didn't work. But whether things have changed now, I have no idea.
I
But
would,
yeah, this is great work.
Would you need an iPhone to use it?
so
Good
it doesn't
question.
need, there isn't a way. If you have like an older, not a touch screen phone, there is a way to be able to use that to use this service. If you go to the FuelService website, they have a breakdown of how to use it if you don't have a smartphone.
Is there an Android app?
Yes, there is.
So Android as well as iPhone. Okay.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And I'm just curious of other drivers with this. I know I've provided my quadriplegic perspective and we've heard a few others, but is there any manual wheelchair users perspectives or anybody else with a unique functionality or disability that they share their difficulties and how you think this could help you?
Well, I mean, I'm talking about my sister, but she has mobility issues, and I know that this would help her. So
Thank you.
And I know Terry Parrish noted in the chat, she's a board member at the Image Center. She has said she downloaded the app today. So I don't know what Terry's most looking forward to trying with the app up in Baltimore County.
Awesome. Terry is awesome.
She's still here or not, but
Yeah, don't know.
Still here, and I heard him speak last week at the last Tuesday night for the Kearney and Spinal Cord group, and I just wanted to chime in again and say thanks for doing this, Josh. You rock.
Thanks, Terry.
I have another question, Josh. If a person has aphasia and difficulty with communication, what would they have to say in the app when they use it? Well, when they contact the station, is it totally? In other words,
The beauty of this is you really don't have to say anything. You put in the service. In the beginning, I forgot to mention, it actually puts in, I think, the type of gas that you want. But if that's not the case, all you have to do is pay at the end. They come out, fill up your full tank. I guess if somebody's having communication difficulties, you can have a piece of paper on your screen, on your window that basically states, please fill up full tank, this type of gas, I will pay with the app. It could be something as simple as that. And I think I heard with the Shell app, once you pay it, it then puts like a 3-digit number on your phone. When you're ready to pay, you show your phone to the person, and then they type it into the pump, and it pays paperlessly. Or you can just provide them with cash or with a credit card, and they slide it for you yourself. I think getting creative with I've always found with my unique disability or other people's, we are very creative community members, and we always find a way to make it work. So
Abiola asked, are there service fees for paying through the app?
nope, it's 100% free for the user.
Okay. All right, other questions, comments, observations, thoughts? Download it. I just downloaded it. I haven't had a chance to play with it yet, but I'm going to check out the area around Baltimore City, Baltimore County. I'm up in northern Baltimore City.
I would love to know other people's ideas of how can we get this out to Marylanders with disabilities. Like I love ourselves, but what other ways do you guys believe we can get this out and get to be used as much as possible?
Doesn't MD Tap, or I think MD Tap has a newsletter that they send out periodically. That might be a good venue for getting the word out.
Great idea.
Yeah, we can certainly get it on in our newsletter. We have a newsletter every few weeks that we put out, and I'm sure other SILs will do the same. So, yeah.
I would think that social workers in hospitals would love to know this information.
Good, great idea as well.
When they leave, hey, good nothing, you'll be okay.
That's a great idea. All right.
Well, that was a great idea going out and talking to the folks at Kernan, because they that's certainly usually a wealth of resource there.
Yeah.
And maybe the major companies that do the mobility vehicle modifications, like Coons in Annapolis was one.
Right.
Great idea. No, I
Yeah, and the departments of aging too. Yeah.
Okay.
Josh,
Yeah. Go ahead.
Josh, I chair the alliance of all the commissions in the state, and I could get it out to them, yet I have to make it very clear that it's only Montgomery and Baltimore County, right?
For now, there's stations across Maryland, but it's just the focus of the stations right now is really in the Baltimore, Montgomery County, PG County area.
Right. Okay. Great.
We're working on expanding that, and we will.
All right. Any other questions, observations, comments? As always, Josh, I think this is a home run. You've really done an excellent job. This is a need clearly that people have been frustrated about since I became active in the disability community back in the early 70s. It's been a long, ongoing problem. So thanks for stepping in to find a solution, because it's never been easy.
Well, thank you, Mike. And together we're gonna hopefully start making it easier.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna create a graphic. I know Sarah, I can share it with you, but is there other SILs that want graphics specific to their area, or it's better to make it just Maryland?
You just want to do one from Maryland, I can send it to everybody. It's easier than doing.
All right, perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome.
You do a great presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. It is, we got 7 or 8 minutes, so let's talk about community announcements, events that are coming up. It's going to snow today, just in case you hadn't noticed, and welcome to that. Also, I know we try to remember to mention this, but let me take a moment to just say that these programs, the IM broadcasts every week, don't operate free. They cost us money when we have to pay for various kinds of expenses relating to this. So if you can help, there is that little check off when you, there's that little link to click on when you get your notice about these meetings. Please do what you can. We understand that our population maybe has limited finances, and so, you know, don't break your bank, but at the same time, help our bank a little bit and help us fund these activities so that we can continue to bring this program to you every week. It's a real pleasure to do it. It's been a very exciting opportunity for us to connect with people throughout Maryland, and your advocacy is what really makes the difference. If you have legislative issues that you want to talk about at the beginning of next week or the following week's IM broadcast, please, if there are hearings coming up, things you think we should know, we've set aside a little time. So if there are things that you want to talk about, please get a hold of me, and I will make sure that you get on. You can get a hold of me either at info@imagemd.org, or you could even try mbullis, MBULLIS, at imagemd.org, and I would be glad to make sure you get on the show to talk about your legislative issues.
Cheryl had her hand up, Mike. I know you can't.
Hey, Cheryl.
Hey, thank you. Sorry, it's really hard for me to break in. If there's time for legislative stuff, there are 2 things coming up this week.
Oh, fire away. There's time.
Okay, Thursday afternoon, John Sarbanes is having a town hall on HR1S1. That is the big democracy bill. Included in that is a piece on voting, and the emphasis is on paper ballots again. So he's having this town hall in the afternoon if folks want to register. I believe I sent info about it to Mike, Katie, and Sarah. If one of you want to dump it in the chat, that would be great. The other piece that I also emailed about is tomorrow, and I'm going to read it straight from the email that I got. The Arc of Maryland put out an action alert ahead of the meeting of the Health and Governmental Operations, or HGO Committee. That's tomorrow, February 2nd at 1:30 p.m. And it's a briefing on how vaccine access is going in the state. And they're asking that before tomorrow's hearing, that folks share their experiences with the committee members, and contact information is in the email that I forwarded. If someone wants to dump that in the chat too, that would be helpful. Yeah, just to let folks know how the rollout actually has been for people with disabilities.
All right.
Hey everyone, this is Dave Dresner from the Freedom Center. I just put a really big, file in the chat. I wanted to let everyone know we are hiring. We're looking for at least one person, possibly more than one person. Obviously, if you're already working at one of our sister cells and you're not planning on moving to the Frederick or Carroll County area, stay where you are. But for anybody else, if you're interested or you know someone who's interested, look it over. Shoot me an email. That would be great. Thanks.
All the Independence Now staff should have already signed off so as to not hear that there are openings at another cell. Maureen, I see you. Abiola, I see you. Rochelle.
I've got a question.
Sure.
Are we going to be having an IM that focuses on how legislation works and how people should approach the legislators and things like that?
Yes, this is Dave again. We are planning that for, I think 3 weeks from today, because 2 weeks from today is actually another holiday, and so there won't be an IAM. So when we come back, I want to say it's the 22nd. That will be the focus of the IAM. I'll get a write-up out to Heather, who will put it out to everyone soon.
Excellent.
Thank you for that, Lori.
All right, folks. Any community announcements that anyone would like to make for this week? Things going on in your organization that y'all want us to know about?
Who was going to be talking about the Community Reinvestment Act that Pam Ford sent to us? Nobody?
Not yet, because they haven't gotten back to us
They
yet.
haven't gotten back to us to talk about it. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, folks. Well, listen, I'm going to close the formal portion of this program. You're welcome to stay around for a few minutes and chat if you like, but for the moment, at least, for YouTube purposes, this is the end of this week's IAM broadcast in Independence Amplified Maryland. Thank you all so very, very much for making my week, as always, in having your input and your interest and your questions and comments. Thank you very much. And that's it for IAM on a Monday, February 1st.
Thanks, everyone.